Dr. John Vanchiere, the LSU Health Shreveport infectious disease specialist. You have been involved with the Pfizer study. We're hearing now that the vaccine 90% effective in the early trials. How good is that in terms of a vaccine and its effectiveness?
Well, that's a home run, y'all. That's a really, really good outcome. Much better than we had hoped it would be. So that's really phenomenal.
Just to give me a basis of something to compare it to, on average, because Pfizer said this is 90% effective, what's the average effectiveness of a vaccine that makes this one so good? If it's 90,
it varies depending on the particular germ, but probably the best comparison is to the flu vaccine, which, we have to change every year. The flu vaccine ranges anywhere from 20 to 50, 60% effective in good years. And so this is really, like I said, a major boost for everybody. And so this is good, very good.
Let me ask you this. What are the hurdles for Pfizer to get this vaccine out to the public?
So this is their effectiveness data that they first look at effectiveness data. They still have to get another 3 to 4 weeks of safety data into their system for analysis, because the FDA requires them to have 2 full months of data after the second dose of the vaccine. And so they still have to collect more safety data and then apply to the FDA for an emergency use authorization, which would be essentially a temporary approval to use it. And that's expected to happen pretty quickly after the safety data is available and analyzed. And then they will begin to distribute the vaccine out. It'll be on a priority kind of distribution, so that highest risk healthcare workers, especially folks who work in nursing homes, would be the first folks to get the vaccine. Military personnel would also be in that first tier, and then after that, other risks as assessed. So probably nursing home patients would be eligible, and first responders, others that are in the next tier category.
I know you hate to think about that this will be politicized, and yet that's the world we live in. When you see candidate Biden saying yesterday, this is a good thing, but it could be, months and months and months before it's available. When you see Governor Cuomo in New York say the vaccine is great, but I just don't know if we can trust the Trump government to distribute it well. How complicated does that get, the distribution, i.e., will it be the same no matter who's president?
So the distribution likely will be the same no matter who's president, especially for the Pfizer product, because it has not been funded by the government. And so while the government has a contract to buy vaccine from Pfizer, Pfizer has self-funded the entire development of the vaccine. So Pfizer's got a lot at risk. I think the important thing is that logistically, distribution of these vaccines will be challenging. This Pfizer vaccine has to be stored at an ultra-low temperature at minus 70 degrees Celsius, which is pretty darn cold. And most facilities, pharmacies, et cetera, don't have that type of freezer available, right? And so we have to think about this distribution a little more differently than say, the regular routine vaccines we use. Flu vaccine can be in a freezer or a refrigerator for storage, but this one needs ultra-low temp, and so it's more challenging.
Pardon me, Doc, just a second. What's the difference? Mm-hmm. What's the difference between storing it at minus 60 or minus 65 and minus 70?
Not much, about 5 degrees.
No, what I mean is that it had to be stored at 70 below. Is it really that fine a hair to split in how it has to be stored? I guess so, huh?
Well, it is. I mean, a regular freezer, deep chest freezer at your house will be minus 20. So we're talking about typically 40 to 50 degree difference from what's routinely available. And that's a big difference. Now, minus 65 versus minus 70, not a whole lot different. And so one of the advantages that we do have is that we can pack store this vaccine in dry ice and make it a little easier to distribute under that circumstance. So,
Doctor, let me ask you this. There are a lot of folks who are anti-vax, and they're scared of this vaccine. Is it a matter of putting a dose of COVID in your system, like we've heard about the flu?
No. So this vaccine, the way it is designed, is this vaccine is basically providing the recipe to make one protein of the COVID virus that your body would then see and recognize and say, that's not me, and then chop it up and make an immune response to it. So this is not this particular Pfizer vaccine is not a live virus vaccine, or it's not infectious in any way. That said, we know that people who get the vaccine do experience some flu-like symptoms for a day or day and a half after getting the vaccine. That's common. That's common with the flu vaccine, and that what we're seeing in the clinical trial is, like what's been published, is that at least 1 out of 6 people or so, right in that range, 1 out of 6, 16 to 20%, get some flu-like symptoms. That is fatigue, muscle aches, and low-grade fever for about a day or day and a half after getting the vaccine. That means 5 out of 6 don't.
Should I be concerned, though, about the long-term effects of this vaccine?
Well, I think that, clearly that remains to be seen. We have significant concerns about the long-term effects of COVID-19, and we know that we are seeing more and more long-term neurologic issues because of the infection, as well as even some in children having a hyperinflammatory response weeks or months after COVID infection. That is very unusual and very vexing for us as physicians. So I think what you have to weigh is the potential long-term risks of infection with the virus as compared to vaccination to prevent the virus. And
Dr. John Vanchiere,
no signal.
I apologize, sir. Dr. John Vanchiere, great stuff as always. Thank you for all the info. Thank you for all your help.
All right. Anytime, y'all.